Good evening, Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation. Thank you all for coming out on this fine day. I hope everyone's doing good, and if you haven't already, please look at your table, or if you would like to visit the front registration table over there, there's a governance questionnaire to be filled out. You'll have an opportunity to win some awesome door prizes, so make sure you fill that out before the end of the night. Please stick around till the end, otherwise you won't be eligible to win said door prizes. But other than that, thank you all for coming. I'm just going to start off with reading our agenda, and then, which will be followed by an opening prayer, and then as we get the food going, and we're going to have our awesome directors reading off their introduction statements. So as I said, we'll be starting off with an opening prayer, which will be followed by the dinner, then some director introductions, which will be followed by Chief and Council, major projects, long-term goals, and community updates. We're also going to be hearing from Mr. Paul Bell from the Narratives Group. He'll be sharing some community development, and we're also going to do an audit recap from Grant Thornton, which will be followed by the governance submission draw. So make sure you fill out your questionnaire. But at this moment of time, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Wakpa McKay. I'm from Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation, and thank you all for coming out to this fine evening. I'd like to ask Marge Roselli to open us up in prayer. And if you can, please stand and remove your toques, headgear. Thank you. Gadamiado for that. I'd just like to remind everyone, if you haven't already, and maybe while you're grabbing food, you can take a look over in that corner, check out all of our awesome posters for our in-community capacity building development projects. They're great. Check them out if you haven't. But at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Michael Ledger, Director of Operations, just to give his introduction, and we'll be making plates shortly for dinner, so stick around for that. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Legger. I started working with Sioux Valley Dakota Nation in December of 2020. I began working on economic development and community planning projects and proposals. In February of this year, I had the honor of being appointed Director of Operations for Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. Since taking on this role, I've had the opportunity to work closely with many staff, assist them in obtaining resources to improve and grow their programs, take on larger projects, as we'll hear tonight on, and bring new ideas and services to the membership of Sioux Valley. Over the past 2 years, projects I've had the opportunity to be a part of is Reaching Home, the Ending Homelessness Project, expansion of food services to the Petro, accessing economic development funding to renovate and grow businesses and develop future opportunities, and addition of new housing through Section 95 of CMHC housing. Over the next year, I look forward to working with our directors and program managers as we continue to provide more services, more opportunities to the members of Sioux Valley. And these services and opportunities include increased language and cultural programming, new educational and training facilities, new businesses, increased home renovations, and working towards becoming an independent, self-reliant, and sovereign community and nation. Thank you.
I'd also like to remind everyone that for this AGM, we're going to be running it a little differently this time. We won't be taking any questions at this time, but please stay tuned for next year. Early next year, we're going to be having something similar where you are able to ask all the questions you want. And if you've filled out the governance questionnaire, you'll see that there's a space at the end where you can ask all the questions you desire. So I just wanted to remind everyone for that tonight. Thank you. I'd like to invite Director of Finance now, Ms. Tamara Melville, if you'd like to come introduce yourself.
Okay, good evening. My name is Tamara Melville. I'm the Director of Finance. I started working for Sioux Valley in May 2019. The Finance Department provides financial support to the Chief and Council, directors, and program managers by way of financial statements and any financial updates as requested. We gather, collect, and maintain all financial agreements, all the revenues, and all the expenditures that flow through Sioux Valley for all the departments. We currently have 3 finance clerks, a payroll officer, a processing/file clerk, 4 finance clerk trainees, and myself as a supervisor. In July and August, we hired 4 community members as finance clerk trainees for on-the-job training by the senior financial staff. To date, we have provided hands-on basic accounting training, and next week we'll be providing hands-on training on our computerized accounting program. My hope is that they will further their education and training to assume the finance positions we currently have. With some of us heading towards retirement and/or early retirement, I feel it's important that we train our own community members to take over these jobs, as Sioux Valley is a self-governing First Nation. Moving forward, I'm hoping that all departments provide internship opportunities for our members, and in order to achieve this, we have to make provisions to our annual FAA agreement and our funding arrangements on a yearly basis. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Director of IRID, Tricia Hayward, please.
Tricia Hayward, Imakiapi Ye. I am the Director of IRID, or the Director of Intergovernmental Relations and the Implementation Department. I am probably one of the newer faces at this table, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me. My Indian name is Wapiwi, which means fortunate woman, and this name was given to me by my late Auntie Doris Pratt. I feel very fortunate for several reasons. Firstly, to be here with everyone tonight. I feel fortunate for my family and my ancestors, my late grandma, Kathleen Stevenson, and her parents, Demas and Bessie Dewan. I feel very fortunate to work with a wise and visionary chief and council who provide me with encouragement and guidance on a daily basis. My position as director means I attend a lot of meetings, I work on a variety of projects, and I sit on a variety of different tables while taking lead from chief and council. I sit at three very important tables when it comes to the governance of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. The IRIS table, which is the Intergovernmental Relations and Indigenous Support table. The RIRSD table, which is the recognition of Indigenous rights and self-determination. The SGIG table, which is self-governing Indigenous governments. And I sit on a variety of other committees that deal with governance and work with many different project leads within Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. I have outlined the parameters of these different tables and other projects that fill my days as director. In this little pamphlet, if you picked it up, there's extra information in here. Much of my job is to work towards fulfilling the requirements of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation Self-Governance Agreement and the Tripartite Agreement while trying to reach reconciliation for our community by working with the federal, provincial, and local government officials. Our Sioux Valley Dakota Nation government works collaboratively with all departments to meet the needs of our community. The Intergovernmental Relations and Implementation Department has completed a veterans research program, and there's more information about that program in the pamphlet. We are working on a genealogy project that will be expanding to include Lakota, Nakota, and Dakota connections. We'll be continuing to work on the bison sustainability program in the hopes of developing strategies to increase the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation bison herd. We are doing research to provide evidence to the governments of Canada about Sioux Valley Dakota Nation traditional territories in the hopes of reconciliation. Sandra Cooling and myself sit on the SGIG table, and I'm taking an active role in the culture, language, and heritage bucket. Along with these different RIRSD projects, our department is also part of the UNDRIP, or the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and we'll be having a community engagement session in the new year. Brandon Residential School Project is another responsibility that falls under IRID. This project is headed by Catherine Nichols and her team, and she has been tirelessly investigating the 3 burial sites located in Brandon. Language Project Coordinator Candace Kennedy has been busy infusing language into the many different community projects such as the Before and After School Project, Mitten Making, and Kahomini. Sorry if I said that wrong. I'm excited to announce that we will be closing our offices every second Friday in the new year to make language a priority for the employees of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. This is a quick and by no means a comprehensive review or overview of what we are working on for the community. I want to send a special thank you to my team, Sandra Cooling, who works with me on the SGIG table, and Carol Johnson, who has a vast knowledge of the governance of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. We work in a colonized society. As colonized minds hear ours and think of possession, it is our job as IRID to decolonize those minds so that when they hear ours, they feel a connection. Padamiaye.
I'd like to call up the Director of Information Governance, Ms. Sandra Cooling. We have lots of information to go through this evening, so I'd like to ask everyone just to be a little bit more quiet with the gappy does. No, just kidding. But yeah, take it away.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Cooling, the Director of Information Governance. I've been working at Sioux Valley since April of 2019, and just recently been named the Director of Information Governance. What it means, information governance, is owning our own information, protecting our information, and making it private to us. The first thing that we're doing in that arena is taking control of our membership database. As you probably know, it's owned by the government right now, controlled by the government. And we've just actually today got a copy of that database, and we'll be in control of it ourselves. Thanks. So we can produce our own statistics. We don't have to ask the government about our own population information. The other thing we'll be doing is records management software, centralizing all our information. Currently, we have a lot of information floating around on laptops that can easily go missing and cause privacy concerns. So we're going to get this information onto a server so that, in the event of a disaster, we can get laptops and be back in business the next day. So it's another big project that I'm currently working on. The other one is collaboration software. Again, we all have information on our laptops that needs to be shared among us so that we can work on projects together. And that's a project that we'll be working on for several years, but hopefully it will make our government a lot more efficient. One thing that's been pointed out at many of the tables I sit on is that good data equals good funding opportunities. So we need to keep track of our information, and that's my job. As Trish mentioned, I sit on the SGIG table with her, and I have been doing that since I started here. Recently, the government in Budget 2022 announced $565 million in housing funding. That money is going to be split between a large group of people. But the housing survey that was recently done, and I'm hoping everyone here was part of that, provided the information that we need for that funding opportunity. So I really encourage when people come to your door or ask you for information or are doing a survey to please make yourself heard and make those numbers count. It's good information that the government needs to provide the funding that we need. Recently, we also got a funding announcement for life cycle funding so that the assets that are in the community now will be maintained through proper funding through the government, and it will expand to cover assets that we will build in the future. So those are the things that I work on, and although you can't ask questions tonight, I work in the governance building, and I welcome any of you to come any time to ask me questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call up Director of Education, Kevin Abbas.
Oh, thanks, Wakpa. Welcome, everyone. Again, I was asked to write a little bit. I know most of you is in here. Many of you recognize me, but I was asked to write a little bit about myself, too. So I guess my name is Kevin Navis. First and foremost, I'm a dad with 7 daughters. 2 are biological, and 5 are foster or step, but all are equal and part of my family. I chose at a very young age to become an educator when the opportunity presented itself. It's hard to believe that was 32 years ago. I've never regretted the choice and loved every year thus far. Parenting and my work in education has sculpted who I am today. I began working in Sioux Valley Education 22 years ago. My first assignment was a grade 7-8 teacher, and I think I see some past students in the audience. I was a grade 7-8 teacher many years ago, then moved to the Sioux Valley High School when it first opened up. For 16 years, I was principal of the Sioux Valley High School, the last 10 years having a double role as principal and director of education. Today, I have one role, that is director of education. I'm fully focused on improving all aspects of the K-12 system in a variety of ways. This includes supporting all students and staff in all aspects of growing and learning. Some key projects I had the privilege of working on an opportunity over the years was the development of the Sioux Valley High School, Sioux Valley Education Policy and HR manuals, feasibility study for a potential new school, school evaluations, pandemic planning, 16 high school graduations, and many others. I think the most memorable, opportunity I had to be a part of was the signing of over 120 graduation diplomas, which was an honor for me over the many years. I always appreciated that and respected that process. Over the next year, working with the principals and the vice principals and the staff, our focus will be to help support the education system in the area of language revitalization through more in-class programming, land-based activities that incorporate language, and staff Dakota classes, which I'm also a part of. I'll try to say something right now. Dakota Iwapi Owakishni. Yet. I'm practicing all the time. So again, we really appreciate those classes, and they're happening every 2 weeks right now with plans of more happening. So again, if you ever see us, a lot of us staff that are learning the language, appreciate that we're trying our best and we're going to get better at it. I'm hoping within another year that we will be able to converse in Dakota. Okay, another major item that I've once again had is going to be the education policy manual. We're updating it this year. It's long overdue, but being one role now, I have more time to focus in that area. I'm working with the HR department with that. Also, at the request of our awesome education portfolios, along with the communications team and a videographer, where we have plans of creating a school video to support the feasibility study, which is a huge undertaking and a very important process that feasibility study is in getting a new school. So I'm very excited about that process. So in kind of closing, you might be aware there was education packages that were put out there just to kind of highlight some of the awesome things that are happening within the schools this year. Again, you've probably seen, I know just a few weeks ago we had Donnie and a crew skinning deer over here at Garth's, and their teacher, Miss Essie, was making sure that the kids were learning the language that pertained to that activity. So those are the types of things we're trying to incorporate in the entire education system, K to 12. So again, I'd like to thank the administration team that helped put the document together, principals and vice principals, so thank you. And I hope you enjoyed it as a read, and have a good evening, everyone.
I'd like to call up the director of the Dakota Oyate Lodge in Emergency, Mr. Christopher Hersack. And if you haven't already, ladies and gents, please fill out the governance questionnaire and make sure you hold on to keep your coupons for the door prizes at the end of the night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And so for those of you that know me, you know that I speak with my hands, so I'm coming with quite an impediment today. So my recently gifted Indian name is Broken Wrist, so thank you. My name is Christopher Hersack. I'm a registered nurse by trade. I've worked within and for the nation since 2019. I am responsible for the development, coordination, implementation, evaluation, and operation of the Dakota Oyate Lodge. My responsibilities are really quite expansive, and they include the safe administration and operation of the facility for both our employees and obviously the elders entrusted to our care. Much of this activity relates to nursing leadership, so things like collaborative nursing support decisions, nursing management, equipment and supplies management, physician, dietitian, and pharmacy contract oversight, as well as environmental education, in-service professional development, and committee participation and communication. I was recently nominated the chair for the Manitoba First Nations Personal Care Home Network Group. This is something our community has been involved in since 1991. And this really allows the community of Sioux Valley to hold a strong voice at this table, promoting the quality dimensions of access, safety, effectiveness, and ultimately satisfaction in the provision of long-term care clinical services in the province. So this has led to, by extension, an involvement at the provincial working group level, and really a say of what the modernization of long-term care standards ought to look like. Similarly, with the onset of the pandemic, I was appointed the Incident Response Commander role to address and mitigate the risk of COVID-19 transmission to the Oyate. Within this role, we've been able to establish a number of good working relationships, including Second Harvest, McCain's Foods, Burnbrae Farms. If everybody has used up those eggs, if you haven't done so yet, I would encourage you to throw those out. The Clorox Company as well. Hopefully there's some wipes still left out in the community. I'm so very, very proud of our community efforts to date. When we look at our dashboard and reflect on some of those numbers, we could see the great number of hurdles we've really achieved and accomplished together. I will use this time, though, even though, again, I'm very proud as we begin to transition into the endemic phase of the pandemic. It's not a time to let our guard down. In closing, I'm very honored to be a part of the community of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation, and I look forward to serving the nation in these capacities in future. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, you took my agenda there. I'd like to call up Director of... thanks. Right now, I'd like to call up the Director of the Health Center, Ms. Sarah Romler.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm the Health Director and the Director for Jordan's Principal in Sioux Valley. I have had the honor of working in the community for 1 year now. The role of Health Director and Director of JP has me working closely with many of Sioux Valley's organizations, vulnerable community members, and government agencies to improve health outcomes and secure additional resources. I also sit on the Southern Chiefs Organization's Supported Health Directors Association and the Primary Care Working Group for Health Transformation. We've had the opportunity to make some exciting changes at Health over the last year, and so I'm just going to run through some of those for you. So with our addictions programming, we've hired a female addictions worker, and both Melissa and Justin worked very hard and developed and delivered a day treatment program through the summer months. Our intention is to offer this program again next summer and keep building on the foundation that we started this year. The home and community care program, Tamara has moved into her role as the nursing supervisor. So nursing assessments in the home are well underway. We've hired 2 additional staff to provide assistance to our clients. We've reinstated assisting clients with shopping when required, and also assisting some of our clients to appointments out of the community. We've purchased equipment to loan to clients and community members while they wait for non-insured health benefits to kick in, and we assist people with their short-term needs for equipment like walkers and wheelchairs and transfer poles. We've created the position of an implementation coordinator, so that's a new role at the health center. It was primarily covered by the home and community care program previously, but we noted that some things were starting to interfere with staffing, so Lydia has taken on that role. Medical transportation, we were running medical transportation vehicle to Brandon with 2 departure times to Dr. Dector and Dr. Benning's office. This is now evolving due to the increase in primary care. We're taking clients to and from appointments in Winnipeg or Brandon if needed. We've hired 2 casual drivers, and our dialysis clients have increased, and therefore we've increased our trips to Brandon with that program. Non-insured health benefits continues to be a concern. I advocate daily for the community with NIHB and have some contacts there now that talk to on a regular basis. So if you are having any issues with NIHB coverage, please call the office. Policies and procedures have been updated to reflect the changes that we have made. Public health and primary care is really exciting right now. We've hired Natalie as our new nurse. Dr. Sopel has returned to the community on Tuesdays. We have a midwife coming to the community on Wednesdays. It's very exciting for both prenatal and postnatal care in the community, and we are hoping to bring back some traditional birthing practices. And Danielle Lewis, our nurse practitioner, is in the community on Thursdays. We have 2 CHRs. Their programs are ramping up after COVID. Diabetic screening days have initiated. Childhood immunizations are being caught up on. Working closely with our primary care providers. Teen clinic has started again at the high school. And this team is very energized and always looking for new opportunities to reach out to the community and improve access. Mental health, Laura Jean and Michael continue the best they can considering the many needs that we have. We have been successful in getting additional funding for a child and adolescent community mental health worker, and NIHB is now providing us with an additional mental health worker on Thursdays. Jordan's principal, Jenny Daniels, has started as the case manager there. She's received funding for 4 additional developmental workers that are working between the daycare and Head Start. They are working hard at reestablishing their clientele Funding was received for a speech-language pathology program, which will be ran right here in the community with a full-time speech-language pathologist. They continue to work on getting more workers into homes to provide support and establish trust with the families and increase community engagement. Other projects we've done, we have Lifeline. We're providing that for those living at risk, and over 100 community members have been identified. So we have over 40 people signed up already. So if you are interested in getting Lifeline in your home, please call the office. Accreditation process has been reinitiated, and health transformation through the Southern Chiefs organization is evolving continuously. Over the next year, I look forward to leading the Health and JP team and working towards a healthier community, supporting the programs we have, and increasing funding for existing programs and new projects. By advocating for you, we hope to expand our community outreach and assist families with accessing effective and appropriate medical care. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sarah. I'd like to call up the Director of Infrastructure and Housing, Neil Wambadiska. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Neil Wambadiska, and in September 2020, I was hired as the Building Maintenance Supervisor to see and fix any of our community buildings. In June of 2020, I was promoted to Director of Infrastructure. This job allows me to oversee maintenance in public works departments, as well as any major housing projects as far as infrastructure is concerned. I've been working closely with the department managers to create a better management strategies and implementation methods. I make certain departments follow our Sioux Valley band policy and procedures and evaluate at times their overall performance. To date, we have 5 workers in the maintenance department, 3 janitors, and 12 full-time workers at Public Works. I also work closely with contractors, whether they are on or off reserve workers. I ensure that these projects are done on time and stay within budget. Other duties in my position range from directing maintenance and public works managers on supervisory duties to undertake so that we can operate as a team and run a smooth professional department, as well as any other small day-to-day tasks that need to be carried out. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I'd like to call up the Director of Dakota Tiwahe Services, Carol McKay-Whitecloud, which will be followed by the Director of HR, Mr. Richard Stevenson. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, friends and relatives. I'd like to welcome everyone that made it to come out to hear the information being presented this evening. It really demonstrates that the interest is there from the community, and that's really good. Want to thank Marge Roselli for the opening prayer, just to get us started in a good way. I just want to comment that Dakota Tiwahe Services is incorporated, and we're governed by a board of directors, which are all Sioux Valley band members. I see a few of them here in the audience this evening, so that's good to see. I've been working at Dakota Tiwahe Services for the past 8 months as the director. It has been a very busy 8 months for us at DTS, with the transition from providing prevention services only to becoming a mandated agency delivering protection services. This was a period of development and formation of our agency. We worked very hard at meeting all of the mandated requirements as set out by the Province of Manitoba and the CFS Act. This was not a task that was taken lightly. A management team was recruited, as well as a CFS consultant, and they're present here this evening as well, to ensure the mandate review was complete and satisfactory. This was a process that had been initiated years ago. This was a vision that was put forth in 2014 and had become a priority for leadership. Exercising jurisdiction in Child and Family Services is also included in the self-government agreement. On July 4th of this year, we received an interim mandate from the province of Manitoba to deliver child and family services. It's definitely a time for Sioux Valley Dakota Nation to be proud of this venture. The ability to have a say in where our children are being placed, the ability to know who is caring for our children, where our children are being raised, and the ability to have a say in ensuring that the children are connected to their families, to the Dakota community that they belong to the culture, and to the language. We have approximately just a little over 100 children in care. Just give me a sec here. And we have approximately 60 foster homes. During the pandemic, there was an advisory committee that consisted of approximately 10 community members, and they developed a framework for a Dakota CFS law. It's now completed in draft form and undergoing some fine-tuning as well as translations into the Dakota language. By creating and enacting our own CFS law, we will have full jurisdiction over child and family services. Over the next few months, there will be a community engagement session being carried out in this area. There is also a law that came into effect January 2021, an act respecting First Nations, Inuit, and Métis families and children. This has allowed First Nations to pursue their law development for child and family services. We currently have 4 offices, 2 in the community of Sioux Valley, 1 in Brandon, and 1 in Winnipeg. We have a total of about 30 staff. So we have a tainted history when it comes to how colonization has affected our communities, especially with family systems and child rearing practices. We are now acknowledging that trauma left behind by these social policies and how that they have impacted Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. None of us have been excluded from these traumatic experiences. Dakota Tiwahe Services and the other departments in the community now are seeking out the best ways to start the healing process that needs to occur. The provincial government has imposed laws against First Nations communities for 150 years that have not worked for us. They are only now giving us the opportunity to develop our own laws and recognizing that we had our own way to manage family systems. We are 100% confident and are demonstrating our abilities. This will require the commitment from the leadership and the community. We need to take back our power, our voice, and our authority, and reasserting our ways. In closing, I'd just like to thank the people who organized the evening tonight, the people who prepared the food, the agenda, all of the organizing that took place, and thank you to Chief and Council for the opportunity to work on this very important venture. And I hope you enjoy your evening and good luck on the door prizes. Thank you. Piramayaya.
Now, last but not least, I'd like to invite our Director of HR, Mr. Richard Stevenson, to the mic.
Hello? Okay. My name is Richard Stevenson. I am a community band member from Sioux Valley. I have approximately 11 years of HR experience that I bring with me. I was recently just put into the director role for HR. Before that, I was an HR manager. I started in May of 2021, I believe. It was originally supposed to be a 3-month contract, and it has turned into an 18-month life of HR, so that's kind of good, I guess. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Verdun, just half an hour from here. I did my education in University of Manitoba. I have 2 degrees, my Bachelor of Arts degree and my business admin degree from Asper School of Business. I was approached to do the 3-month term position through Sioux Valley. And again, as I took the opportunity, they were supportive of me doing my education, so here I am. A little bit more about me. I've also enrolled in the Dakota language classes that were, I guess, started last year. And they're continuing on. As mentioned, every second Friday we're going to be taking time to learn our language. So about our program, about HR, lots going on in the HR world. We have a staff of 3 for the self-governance department. There's myself, HR director, HR coordinator, Sarah Hobson, and then we have an HR assistant, Tia Smoke. On top of that, we also have a designated HR generalist to the school for education, and we have a designated HR generalist to manage our DTS workings. We are currently working on trying to streamline our HR process and policies to ensure a consistent and fair process. We've just actually purchased an HR management system that we hope to have up and running in the near future, which will help alleviate some of our aches and pains of managing the 350-ish staff that we have under SVDN. So any of you who are not sure what the HR department is, what we represent, in simplest terms, the HR department is a professional group who is responsible for managing the employee life cycle. So from start to their finish of their duties, I guess, with SVDN. So recruiting, hiring, onboarding, training, and unfortunately comes with terminating employees as well. And then on top of that, we also administer the employee benefits program and working closely with finance. Besides the operational responsibilities, HR provides less quantitative functions. HR also helps to support best suitable employment for Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation. That being said, we want to find the best people to work in their designated areas, I guess. And we support that with training and education. HR can provide career paths to help guide our employees, build them, give them the skill set and the means to become, I guess, to really give them the skills and the tools to do whatever they really want within Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation. One thing we are working new at getting is the mentorship program. We're focusing on our youth. That seems to be a bit of a concern amongst the community that the youth is our future. So, lost my train of thought here. Again, with that, the youth, putting all our emphasis on the youth and then bringing in the mentorship program. And as mentioned, I think Tamara from Director of Finance mentioned that they hired 4 finance interns, which the goal is to help them mentor into roles again. So when our older staff start aging out or want to retire to a warmer place, there'll be people to take on their roles with less effort and ease. So back to a few of the things that HR does. We're looking at working on our job postings to encourage more community members to apply. That being said, is our community members, we want to give them a fair chance. In our Constitution, obviously, is to hire community members first. By doing this, though, we just want to give everyone a fair opportunity and the tools and skills that they need, working hands in hand with education and training, ensuring that our staff, employees are getting the information and the tools that they need. We're getting better with our performance evaluations and increments. One of my goals, or one of my, I guess, tasks when I first came on in my 3-month contract was to bring up our salary scales, bring us more in line with the rest of the Manitoba standards. One thing we're doing too, we ensure that we look after the benefits, administering benefits of our employees, the ones who sign up for it and the ones who are qualified for it. However, we're always looking at better options, better ways, and better programs that we can bring in that will assist and help our employees. HR goals to ensure SVDN's going in the right direction with our employees with regard to attracting the right candidate to the job and ensuring there is retention. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Looking around is making me hungry. Oh boy, that looks delicious. I'm looking around, seeing all of my relatives just mouth wide open, trying to fit all that gravy and mashed potatoes in. I'm getting pretty hungry. So right now, I'm just gonna let everyone know that we'll be taking a 5-minute break. So if you want, you can go out, smudge your lungs, go use the washroom. And if you haven't already, please check out the presentation poster boards over there. Awesome, awesome community updates. Please take a look, visit around, talk to your neighbors. And if you haven't already, please fill out the governance questionnaire. And a note for the online viewers. I just want to mention that if you're viewing the live stream on YouTube, please look in the YouTube chat. There should be a link for a Survey Monkey for a chance to win 1 out of 2 $500 gift card bundles. So make sure that you check the chat for the Survey Monkey. And without a further ado, everybody, please take a breather. That's a lot of information, I know. Walk around, visit. Please check out all of our stills over there. We'll be coming back here in 5 minutes. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to ask you all to take your seats, please. We'll be beginning momentarily. But I'd like to ask you all, if you haven't already, or if you have, if you finished that, the governance questionnaire, can you please hand it over to the front reception table over there? They'll be taking them. If you stick around to the end of the night, you'll be able to win I think we have 8 gift cards, or 8 gift card bundles. So it's pretty sweet, so stick around for that. But once again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. If you haven't used the washroom real quick, we'll be starting up momentarily. Also, I'd like to point out our awesome chefs for tonight. I'd like to thank the chefs, the diner, all of those lovely volunteers. So without a further ado, can we put our hands together? It was pretty cho, the food, pretty cho. I'm probably gonna crash out right after this. Oh. Water? Yeah. I'll get some, yeah. So please take your seats. We'll be beginning momentarily. For the rest of the evening, we'll be hearing from Chief and Counsel, our portfolio holders. We'll also be hearing from Mr. Paul Bell from the Narratives Group, as well as Marin Brown from the Grant Thornton auditors. So stick around for that. Looks like we're handing in our questionnaires. Make sure you keep the other ticket so you can see if you won the door prize. And once everyone's seated, we'll get this show on the road again. But at this time, while we're waiting, while we're walking around, talking, there's some dates I'd like to run across with you guys. For December, we have some amazing dates, so pull out your calendars, pull out your phones. We're gonna be having an Elders Christmas dinner, December 1st at the Veterans Hall, 11 a.m. So please keep an eye out for the poster. It's gonna be posted soon. We have an Elders Christmas dinner, December 1st at 11 a.m. As for the Brandon Community Christmas Dinner, it's going to be held on December 14th. The venue is still to be decided. As for Winnipeg, we'll be having our Christmas dinner on the 20th. There's going to be a poster to come out shortly, so look out for that. As for our community Christmas dinner, it's going to be on the 22nd of December. So please come out for that. It'll be at the Veterans Hall. It looks like our lovely servers are handing out some cake, some pie. Oh, also, I've just been reminded by our lovely our communications group. If you haven't already, pick up your phone, go on the App Store, and download our SVDN Sioux Valley Governance app. You can see awesome updates, posters, information about the AGM. It's great. Great resource, so please download it as soon as you can. But I'm just waiting for everybody else to take their seats, so please find them, pop a squat. We'll get this show back on the road. I've just been reminded to ask everyone to please, please, please quiet your voices down. The live stream is having a hard time picking us up. They're hearing all of you fine people in the back instead of me in the front, and our lovely Chief and Counsel and project our directors. So please keep it down. Okay. Also, Sioux Valley Dakota Nation, I'd like to ask you all to remain silent for the remaining hour or so. At this point in time, we will not be taking any questions for our AGM, but early next year, we're going to have something similar, so please come out to that. You'll be able to ask questions then. Just due to the time restraints, we're already pushing it over our agenda, so please no questions at this time. I'd like to invite our Chief of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation, Chief Bone, to the stand, where she's going to speak about some community projects, long-term goals, and updates. Thank you. I'm sorry, not this stand, to the mic.
To the podium. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's nice to see you all here this evening to come out and hear all the updates from our directors and our chief and council. I'm really pleased with the turnout this evening, and I want to say thank you for you all and your interest in coming out and hearing what we have to share today. And I just want to say thank you to the ladies in the diner for preparing the wonderful meal this evening, so thank you. So prior to the meeting, I know you all had opportunity to view the displays there, so I'll speak to a bit about that and a bit about our governance and kind of where we're at and what we've been working on and what our priorities have been over the last year and prior to that as well. So earlier, as Tricia had mentioned, our director of the IRID department, we continue on with our RIRSD negotiation table with Canada and Manitoba. We continue on with those negotiations and with the projects and research to support our claim, I guess, with the federal government, and that's been ongoing for a number of years now. I feel like there's lots of feedback, right? Like squeaking, yeah. So that's kind of been ongoing, and we continue to meet every 6 months or so, updates with Canada and Manitoba. The SGIG is ongoing. We've been a part of that table since we began a self-governing nation, and we have 2 staff that continue to participate in that on a regular basis, and a lot of the funding for some of our newer infrastructure projects come from that table and those discussions. As Sandra mentioned, how important data and information is to support the funding that we receive here for our nation. So I just wanted to speak to a bit of some of the governance part before we move into the special and major projects. So as Carol had mentioned earlier, Sioux Valley's identified Child and Family Services as a priority for a number of years. We filed our first resolution in 2014 to exercise jurisdiction in that area, and it's been ongoing since then. We've successfully moved into our own mandate with Dakota Tiwahe Services, and we continue to discuss the CFS law under the C92. We recently had a meeting with our legal team as well as the province and Canada's legal team to have a discussion on doing an amendment to our governance agreement where C92 would be amended and would be entrenched into our governance agreement, so we have the best of both our governance agreement and as well as Bill C92. So that's been an ongoing discussion for probably since we filed our letter back in 2020 to proceed under C92. So those discussions are ongoing, and it's been a challenge for us just because we feel that we don't have, as a self-governing nation, we don't have the full support of Manitoba. Their mandate to negotiate with us in those areas is very limited, and we expressed that at our last meeting last week that we needed them to support us, fully support us, I guess, to move forward in that area in order for us to do that amendment so we can proceed and give notice. In order for us to move into the law, we have to provide notice that we're moving into what's called coordination agreement discussions that would move us into Bill C92 and then enacting our own CFS law. So I just wanted to give a brief overview on that. That's still ongoing, and we continue to work away and negotiate with the different levels of government to ensure that we have the best services provided here for our community members.
The other area that we've been focusing on as well, and I know we've had a couple of meetings in the past with the elders, was policing. I know there was a lot of concerns regarding the policing and the services of the RCMP and the response time, a lot of issues and concerns coming forth on the amount of time it takes them to respond to the community and the calls that they receive. So last December, and then I believe March or so, we had a meeting with the elders and we put that forth to the agenda and what they wanted to see for the community and discussions about moving back to Indigenous policing. So we did file a resolution that we will be moving back to Indigenous policing, and we'll continue to work on that. We have a meeting in the next 10 days or so, I believe, with Public Safety Canada, the province of Manitoba, and the Manitoba First Nation Police Service. So that's something we hope to see within the next 12 months or so, but we'll continue to keep updates to the community. So I just wanted to share that. That's kind of where that's at. I'll move into some of the major projects and things that we've been working on, as well as leadership and along with our directors. You can see there's some conceptual drawings over there. One of the things that we identified in the last 6 months to a year is the need that the community has for our early years building. We all know that the daycare building is quite outdated and old, and it was at one time our band office, and we felt that, our young children, that our little ones deserve much better, so we're working towards an early years building. So there is some very preliminary conceptual drawings over there that we've come up with. We're still in the design and costing phase, and we're taking bids from 2 different companies. So we're hoping to begin construction of that next spring. As previously mentioned by Kevin Nabis, back in 2019, we identified that we want a new school was needed, so we proceeded back then to contract Stantec engineers out of Winnipeg, and we had a feasibility study started, which was completed last summer. We submitted that to Indigenous Services Canada, and we did a presentation to the regional director Genneral last December 2021. So we continue to negotiate for that too. Like, we know that the school is, almost 30 years old, I guess, and we want something better for our children, something with more space. A lot of issues with the high school, overcrowding and outdated buildings. So we continue to push forward on that and hope to see some positive news in the near future on that for the grades kindergarten to grade 12. We're currently in the process of renovating the Sioux Valley Gaming Center and Diner area, that building. I know that building was built back in the early 2000s and it's in dire need of renovation, so we'll do a full renovation of the gaming center, the lobby, and the construction of an exterior patio for the gaming center and diner. We want to do a more modern update with new and improved amenities and Dakota culture featured throughout the new and updated look. So that'll be starting probably within the next month or so. Another major project that we've been working on, identified probably back in 2019, we identified that the water in the community was a priority and we needed to address the water treatment plant. So that's been moving forward at a very slow pace, but it's still moving forward. Right now, we're looking at replacing the 30-year-old water treatment plant, which is going to cost approximately $9 million. And that funding, again, will come from the SGIG fiscal table there that they provided funding for infrastructure. And we want to ensure that we have safe drinking water for all our community members. And that will also allow us to eventually expand the service to the majority of our houses here in the community and accommodate the continued growth of our nation as well. So some of you may have seen there's construction beginning below Dakota Tiwahe Services. That building is going to be emergency housing as part of our Ending Homelessness program. It will help individuals who are homeless or near homeless through getting permanent shelter and basic needs to live comfortably until they find transition for their own home or a new home. And that will be 4 bedrooms there. So that program is overseen by Teresa McKay, and that's for us, that we see that as a need here in the community. At times there's people that are displaced and we need to accommodate them, and rather than sending them to Brandon, to hotel rooms and whatnot, we'll keep them here in the community where their family supports are, where they can access the resources here, such as Dakota Tiwahe Services or Sioux Valley Health, right here in the community, and having that support system to ensure that they have a positive, healthy lifestyle. Another one of the displays there is recently we purchased 1,000 acres. Is a farm, and our hope as Chief and Council was that we would utilize this space for education and cultural programming that, you know, the different entities do, such as equine therapy, focusing on family well-being, having special events and gatherings, things like horseback riding and hunting, focusing on land-based learning. Food sovereignty was another thing that we had in mind for this space, that the land that we purchased. We have a lot of talented youth that work in our governance building under the youth climate change program in the community garden. They've done numerous proposals and were successful in a lot of them, so we're hoping that, you know, we can bring that to that space where it'll be a space of healing and for our children, our youth, and our families. Highway 21, for a number of years we've been trying to obtain water up there at that site so we can allow for economic development. Right now there's water that is trucked there daily or every other day by Public Works. So we've been in talks with the Water Co-op Board for quite some time now, so we finally got some positive feedback, and now we'll be looking at providing water services there in partnership with the Water Co-op Board, and which will help us to develop that space more, whether it's gaming or retail space or any kind of economic venture that our community members may want to pursue. So that's kind of a long-term plan for us to be able to provide those services. We actually had interest from brands or different chains like Subway and whatnot that want to set up business there, but the challenge for us was that there was no water there. So hopefully once we have those water lines installed, you know, we'll be able to attract businesses and economic growth within that area. So just in regards to economic development as well, we're currently in the legal and accounting process to create our own economic development corporation. We identified this as something that we wanted to do to separate our businesses like the gaming center, the gas bar, the diner, and the petro, to operate those separately from our public service programs, the programs and services that we normally provide for our community members, and keeping those separate, and that would operate under an economic development board. You know, a lot of other First Nations do that and have their own economic development corporation, so that's something that we're moving forward to as well. Another announcement that we had that was shared earlier, we had the development of our own Sioux Valley Dakota Nation app. If you haven't downloaded it already, I encourage you to download that for updates and special events, job opportunities, community notices, or emergencies. Or if you need some assistance, you know, you can always ask Elton and Denitza to help you do that and set up an account. We saw that as a need because we were having it difficult to communicate and share information with our community members, especially during the pandemic. You know, that was a challenge, and we couldn't always gather like this, so we wanted something that would share information with all of our community members, not only here in the community, but also our off-reserve urban members. Another exciting opportunity we came about within the last couple months was the Grand Valley Provincial Park there, just off the Trans-Canada Highway. Sioux Valley Dakota Nation has acquired that property as of December 1st. So we're pretty excited about that, to take over the operations and the business within that park. We hope to expand the camping and outdoor recreation park and revitalize the cultural programming within that park, and hopefully access funds via proposals through tourism to update and enhance that cultural and historic site. We all know that we've utilized that space in the past for high school cultural camps. Other entities have used that space as well, so we're excited to get that going within the next couple of months. Moving on to the Dakota Oyate Lodge, Christopher and other managers have been working to get a net zero renovation of the Dakota Oyate Lodge. They're awaiting approval of a $2.9 million submission to the Green and Inclusive Community Buildings Program to upgrade the lodge to get it to be net zero through geothermal, solar, and high efficiency upgrades. If successful, it will be the first of its kind. So great job, Christopher. Another addition to the area of lands is the Brandon Ag and the residential school site. So as you're all aware, we own the Brandon residential school site, but we've also been leasing some land that belong to the Ag Center for a number of years, and we extended that lease to another 42 acres of additional land next to the Brandon residential school site. And we're working with the province through the process of Manitoba selling off the land for Sioux Valley to have the opportunity to acquire that land. So just in closing, I just wanted to share that we have a lot of work going on with the Dakota language program under Trisha's program there, and we've had a number of challenges, getting people out, getting people involved with the Dakota language classes and sessions that we have, and people helping with instructors and wanting to be a part of the group and helping us as the younger generation to learn the language. So I encourage you to, if you're able to offer your assistance, you can reach out to Trisha. And as mentioned, as part of that and us learning the language, and we all know that the school closes every Friday at 2:30 for their staff to take language classes. So we followed suit and thought that would be a good idea for our staff as well on Friday afternoons, every second Friday, to close early and take part in language classes. So that's just kind of a brief overview of what we've been working on as leadership. I just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. I don't want to take any more time, and I'll share some other announcements with the council to share. So thank you.
Thank you all. I'd like to ask Councillor Rosmus to come and speak about her portfolios and her updates. Thank you all for being so patient.
Hamatakiapi. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see everybody here. We have a good crowd. I'm going to talk about housing first, and then I'm going to go into a little bit of the education part. So off-reserve housing, we currently have 11 units in Brandon, 9 in Portage. It falls under the provincial regulations, so we follow the residential tenancy branch. On reserve, it's a little bit, it's different. Of course, we fall under the federal, so those are policies that we have to implement. We are living in a time where we are faced with lots of challenges within our community with housing, and this isn't only within our community, it's also within other communities that are going through similar crises as we are as well. Sorry, I have notes all over, sorry about that. So on reserve, we could talk about pros and cons of housing, and we know that we face a lot of those in our community. We face rent arrears, that's common. There's pros to living on the reserve, you're closer to our families. We have support systems here as opposed to living off of the community. So we have housing shortages, we have overcrowding. Overcrowding leads to poor health, social issues, substance living conditions. Moisture buildups lead to mold and decreases in the lifespan of houses. Intergenerational poverty, major repairs, and those with disabilities living in conditions not suitable to their daily needs and lack of funding. Inadequate funding root causes to many of today's housing issues, social issues, and health issues. And so what do? We can do housing assessments like we had implemented, and we hope that everybody is completing them. This is a way that we could better monitor our units and ensure that renovations are being met. We have overcrowding like we specify, right? And some of our units, and this will help with that as well. So this assessment is very important, and I encourage those that haven't done it to do it. We need to maintain our units that the new homes, educate our new homeowners to a mandatory workshop, responsible tenants, selecting responsible tenants, a home handbook to make reference to for our homeowners or tenants. Be fair, and I think that's what the home assessment is to be fair and equal to all of our community members. And so housing renovations are done to all, and everybody is treated fairly. Working together within our governance, from DTS and aging out homes, our health center for transitional housing for addictions, and dependent living for our 60s, young elders that are still independent is important. And going after funding from CMHC. Voice the importance of our housing needs to our negotiation tables. Our population is 2,692, and we are only growing. Have a strong housing policy that deals with drug use in the home, abandoned homes, damages to homes, and that is implemented and followed by all of our departments. Incorporate a drug policy that fits to our housing policy. We see that a lot within our community, and that's something that we have to focus on. And we sat down 2 weeks ago and met, and we see the need that we need to do with in educating ourselves on meth and whatever else is out there within our community. We are reflecting, we have reflective signs that are going up into our driveways, and this would assist in for our departments that are needing to get to a house and there is no house number on there. And to our ambulances and policing. So that is something that, and it's always going to be working. That's why we need the community's input and feedback. I'm going to go over to education. So when we were elected, we heard of change in our education department. And how do we do that? No better way than we asked our education staff. And we held 2 gatherings, 2 on separate occasions, and they shared their goals, their concerns, ideas they would like to implement and or improve within our education. We took all 67 goals, concerns, and ideas and cross-referenced and broke it down into categories, stages, and are working through those goals and ideas for the 2023 and 2022-2023 school year. We are doing a video, which was brought up by Mr. Nabis, for a school to help us, right? It's the video will record, both school sites. I noticed that when we're meeting with the government, it's through Zoom, and sometimes you don't have that connection as you would as if we're meeting in person. So no better way than to, and some of them don't even have their cameras on, and it's frustrating, and it's not, maybe they're not listening to us as when we're sitting there in discussion. So we thought of the video, and it would reflect on all of both school sites. Both school sites emphasizing on the needs of a new school. Be realistic of our children's weekly routines. For the 183 days of the school year, our children that are bused into Brandon have longer days than our working staff. That's 10 plus hours a day. That's a long day for a child. This plays a big part on their daily well-being. As children, their mental, physical, and emotionally. Some other elements that should be off the radar. The fact that our high school is 108 years old. Our elementary school is 39 years old. Deterioration of both school sites play major factors from leaking roofs, air system, fighting an aging boiler, to name a few. We are currently sitting at 163 students at the school and 177 at the elementary, totaling 340 students, not including the 67 staff. We are growing, and we are going to continue to grow. This is our fight. This is why we need a new school at home. Filming will begin in December, and it will be our children, our youth, our educators, and our community bringing this video to life. This video and our feasibility study will give us more viable reasoning at our negotiation tables. Some highlights that we have implemented. Kushinuka at both of our school sites. We see that some have a better connection with some, and some have a better connection with others. And having a male and female helps our children. Dakota language being taught daily, starting from daycare to high school, and then on Fridays, every other. Our land-based teachings into our schools have started. We are continuing to grow in that way and to help our children. Drug awareness, I spoke on that with housing. Again, when we met 2 weeks ago, we need to educate ourselves and our staff as well as our community and our children. And no better way than to educate our kids. So we'll be having some presentations over there at just for drug awareness. Starting in November, we will be having a male and female Dakota role model come into the schools and speak and engage with our students. And the spring of 2023, we're going to have Igniting Our Spirits Career Symposium. So that will bringing in First Nations into our schools and our kids to go around and see hands-on and meet with individuals. So I'm going to just close it off there, but before I do, I'd like to introduce the junior chief and council. We have with us our junior chief, Lily Blue. They're all sitting at this table here. Our assistant junior chief, Chloe Blacksmith. Blake Elk, our secretary. And then we have representations from grade 10 is Olivia Blue. And Janaea Hairhoff, our grade 11 rep. And two couldn't be here today, and that is Meadow Lemming and Amber Ross. So thank you for coming. They'll be joining us again in the new year at our other gathering with an update. I know we were given 5 minutes to speak. I didn't start my timer, and I apologize. I don't know if but I would like to be courteous to my fellow coworkers. I know they have lots to share as well, but that doesn't mean I don't want to share on other areas that I hold portfolio too. I also hold the portfolio for DTS. Just briefly, a community engagement will be happening soon. The pros of that, Dakota Tiwahe Services, with the assistance of our elders, is to help us put a Dakota lens on it. It's a board operated, it's separate from our governance. Brandon Residential School Projects, we have officially opened, we'll be opening an office right next to the sub-office. We'll be setting up there. I know it's a very important part of our gathering our information for educational purposes, right, as well. So we can have interviews there. I encourage all of survivors and families of survivors to come and visit once it's set up. Finance and administration. Gosh, I can't read my own writing here. We have a close working relationship, and new hires and training and I encourage all of our community members to apply for the jobs that are being posted. IT and communications, we have that new app. I encourage you guys all to download it. It'll give you all updates just through your phone. You can see postings, everything through there. The new equipment for interviews. Again, this is another important part for interviewing our elders. Part of our Dakota teachings, history of our nation, not to mention our renovations happening at KODA, and Joe Cool will be styling pretty soon. If anyone has any questions or would like to just come and visit, my office is on the 3rd floor. Do not hesitate to contact me either. Again, I encourage you all to grab whatever information that was handed out, read it, go through it. We're going to have another community engagement in the new year, and come back with your feedback, and it'll be great. Again, just want to close with saying thank you to the governance team for preparing, the guests that are here, the auditors, and communications for making our community members available to view on our website, to march for the prayer and starting us off in a good way, the cooks for the wonderful meal, directors for all their updates. Thank you very much. You guys did great. And to our online viewers, thanks for joining. Lastly, our elders and to our community members, Padamaya, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Councillor Rosmus. I'd like to call up Councillor Tachin for his sharing of his portfolio.
Omitakipi. Tatewaya kinapa hemakyapira. Atewaya yom naji Victor Tachin. Inawaga zitkara duta. Omitakipi, my presentation is going to be short. I've been in this game long enough to know that I'm just going to talk from my heart. That one now I'm entering my 22nd year in council. I've served under many chiefs and councils over the years. Each one of them brought lots of special things to the table, lots of projects, lots of working together. I'm proud to be 1/6 of the team here that brought all this economic development to this community. I see good things for our children in the future. So in those things I'm always been proud to be a part of, to be included, to have my input. And right now, I'm overseeing the Buffalo project right now with Councillor John Bell. So with that program, what's happening is we've built our herd up to about 104 with 11 white buffalo. And what's going to be starting is we're going to be in talks with the training program to bring community members in to train them to be meat cutters, where we can specialize in having certain cuts of the buffalo here for our children here and for the lodge, the school, and community members. We just took down 2 of them right now to Oak River to get processed and all that, and that's going to be going to the elders of the community. And I know the younger ones are going to hate me for this, but I said, you're young enough, you guys should be learning to be hunting right now for your women. And the elders are going to come first on this one. Or find yourself a hunter. So that's coming up and all that. We've done documentaries up there. APTN's been up there numerous times with the Spirit Talker show's been up there. I've done a documentary with the Manitoba Museum of Man and Nature, which you could see the exhibit in Winnipeg. And that was in regards to the Dakota people, the agriculture, and the buffalo program. So that was my job, was to promote this community and the animals that we are in charge of, and so that others can enjoy them. With that, another one I've in is employment and training and post-secondary. I shared out with Tim Whitecloud, councilman. So our directors are always giving us input on what they want to see. The council gives us input on what they want to see in training methods to bring to our community. So we value each other's opinions on what they want to see for our youth. So I also sit on the social development portfolio with Councilman Rusty Taylor. With that one there, it's program funding in and out, and there's strict rules to it and all that, and we stand behind our director. We have to. And we always try and seek other avenues to help our community members that really need it and when something happens. With that one too, I'm also, there's a Dakota Ojibwe Community Futures Development Corporation out of Winnipeg. It's a DOTC entity, but it's incorporated, which means we're still a part of it as Sioux Valley with the 8 bands. And recently I was just elected as the chairman of that board. So as of the last meeting we had, I've directed the staff there to start setting up schedules to bring out the staff to Sioux Valley to start helping people with business plans and whatever ideas they want to share or what they want to do with business. And that the band would support whatever businesses come into play here. So they're going to be coming out. The scheduling is started. And what else? First Nation Safety Officer Program, on portfolio with that with Rusty. And what we do is, I know a lot of people have good experiences with DOPS. A lot of people had a good experience with RCMP and all that. And as a leader in this community, I haven't had a good experience with either one of those groups in terms of getting to a call on time and stuff. So the Chief and Council here have started the Security Watch program. That's slowly turning into First Nation safety officers with more jurisdiction, but those papers are still being written up, and we have to finalize it with the lawyers to see if we can implement. And that gives them the right to detain, the right to get into a house to assist when somebody is being assaulted terribly before the RCMP or, in this case, DOPS show up. Sometimes our community members can't wait for somebody to get there to save them. So right now we're at 98% trained staff right now into level 2 security. And half of them are trained in level 1, and there's 2 that are just straight security. They haven't received the training yet. So we have 3 vehicles there patrolling all the time. It's 24/7. I know they meet a lot of hostility, but I always look at that as that's all right. We're doing something right here when people actually need you and you're there. And it's not above the council and myself to get out there and assist them when something bad is happening and they need backup, when the police will be too long to get here. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to do our best for our community, and we hope the community works with us and all that. It's a short presentation. I'm sorry I didn't have the notes to really detail what we want, because they said it was 5 minutes, and I thought I was going to be allowed to karaoke for a few more minutes, but we'll let that go for now. But anyways, it's been a wild 21 years, going on 22, and I've been proud to serve this community, and I'm very proud of our directors and staff. It's very hard to stand up here and talk in front of a group. It's very awesome to have a team that prepared the meal and to serve everybody. It's been great there when they started off with the prayer. I thank Cousin Marge for that. And it's been a great evening, and I want to thank you all for listening to me, and I look forward to serving you more in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tatchin. I'd like to call up Councillor Bell to this, not to the stand, my bad, to the podium. Thank you.
Go ahead, clap. Go ahead. Hi, good evening, everybody. Right now, I'd like you to all stand up and check under your seats. Stand up, check under your seats. Stand up, check under your seats. Billy, what'd you find? Pink gum. That's what I got under mine. I was kind of waiting for that big rush of chairs and noise, and it didn't happen. So I'm going to talk about some of the programs that we've done there. As Wakpa said, my name is Councillor John Bell, so some of you still know me as John Boy. I still answer to that. It's one of the names given to me by my great-grandma and the family up the hill, so I wear that badge with honor, so I do still answer to it. I don't know what's left. Some of the stuff there is all good stuff. Like, it's been a real wicked year for learning all this stuff on government stuff, and like even being on that political level with the province and Canada. Like all the information that comes in, it's just like trying to absorb it all, and trying to drink out of a fire hydrant at the same time, so you get it all coming out of your nose and out of your ears, and it's been a good challenge. Like it's been wonderful working with all these people sitting here at the table there, going over some of the, I guess not so much the, giving more of a soft guidance for the direction that they're going into, and then working with all these people on the left here. All my co-workers, fellow councillors, and the chief. It's been an eye-opening experience, and so some of the stuff that we got going on here, I guess, is I think I really can't cover too much after this. Like look after the residential school project, some of it with Councillor Rosmus. I think our project lead is still here, Catherine Nichols, so that's been a very trying experience. Why is it doing that? Where's our tech guys? So that's been going on. We've had a couple of projects that were opened up, I guess, from previous chief and council there with the residential school or the Turtle Crossing project. Just trying to access the land and trying to get, I guess, the GPR stuff going on with there through that project as well. We've got 5 elder project people as well that work on that. I think we bought our own ground penetrating radar, 2 different frequencies. So I'm waiting to learn that thing because it's a box on wheels. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, other than that, with shared portfolios, I think some of the programs coming up with through health, I think we're guiding and focusing more on mental wellness and awareness, addictions. Oh, lots of stuff. Like I can stand up here and ramble on and on and on, but I'm still disappointed nobody got up to check under their chair. So yeah, there's lots of stuff there. The previous council did a lot of the grunt work and a lot of the groundwork for the water treatment plant. We're looking to start digging the ground and implementing that and moving into the next phase here come springtime to start building the facility. So that's exciting. And just I guess the Arbor project, I oversee that now with Rusty and Tim. So we're going to go give our input and insight into that going forward. And just kind of keep the ideas coming as to what's going on there. And as Councillor Rosmus said, like I think I'm a permanent fixture at the office there, so if I can't find me there, I'll probably be back in 10, 15, 20 minutes, but I'll be around there anyway. So if you got to come up with any of your ideas or need to talk, just come on up, approach every one of us. Bring your ideas, we'll listen to them and then try to carry them forward. So well, that's all I got right now, so thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Councillor Taylor to the podium, please, which will be followed by Councillor Whitecloud. Then our two presentations, and then we'll do our door prizes, and that'll be the conclusion of the evening. Thank you.
Oh, my talk could be. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. It's great to see everybody out. One thing for sure, the first time being on council here, you know, there's a whole lot of learning going on. And like there again, working with our managers here and the right and stuff of that and all the work they've done. And our team here to the left, chief and council here. A lot of big decisions we've had to make in the last year and stuff of that. With, for myself personally, looking forward to move forward. And, the Chief Bone announced too the purchase of 1,000 acres of ranch we purchased. A lot of ideas can come from that and a lot of benefits that the community can utilize in this land for our people. Anything from land-based teachings to community functions and stuff like that we can utilize this land for. So there's so much ideas that in pursuing this venture with this land that can come and benefit our community. And one thing, when we talk about this purchase here is our children. The future of our children and stuff like that, to get ready for them and prepare them. And you know, some of them children nowadays, as I look over the share portfolio with Councillor Rosmus, with our education system, is some of the changes that we've done in the last year too for our children. We need to better prepare our education staff, right from the early years to elementary and into our high school. Because it's one thing we've seen in the past and then we didn't really, wasn't really recognized and stuff like that, but now that we do and we see it, and it's here, and it's now, is our children. Some of our children nowadays, whatnot, they need that extra education. We have children with ADHD, FASD, and now we have children coming in with autism. And these kids require a little extra education, a little extra attention to help these kids through our school system. When you sit back and look, we have a few of these children who have aged out, so to speak. They miss the benefits that they're going to come. These are some of the things that we look at through working more closely with our kids and all the programming and stuff like that through health, DTS. And there again, too, just recently we went through a transition with, from DOCFS, Dakota Juvenile Child Services, into our own Dakota Tiwahe services. The services there again for our community to benefit our children, our families. The program there that we can all utilize and stuff like that in all different degrees of need. But I'm always looking forward to our kids, our future. You know, we need to better prepare. You know, when you talk to some of the elders in our community and stuff like that, and even for myself and my wife to sit at home and talk about our kids, our future, when we see these things as foster parents, some of the kids we look after who have these, well, we'll call them learning abilities, ADHD, FAS, autism. For ourselves personally, we try to help these kids the best we can. But now it's more than just within our household, it's in the community. We as our community members need to come out and help. And in the past years, recent years here in the community, I sat on different committees and boards and stuff like that, but you know, the toughest thing I seen as a committee member at those times is getting people out. I know there's a lot more community members here in our community stuff like that can come out and stuff like that, and you know, it's great to see everybody here tonight. The numbers we have here tonight is great to see. Especially after what we went through in the last couple of years with the COVID pandemic. At times we literally shut down to now coming out of this pandemic, but with Christopher's warnings too and stuff like that, we're not quite over it. Who knows, we might go back into it again. These are the things we need to keep in mind. And just a few things I want to touch on too. There again, I shared portfolio with Councillor Rosmus on education. I know with the feasibility study and stuff like that, and Kevin Navis talked about it too, is to make a video to help along with our feasibility study for our new school. And this project has been started by the previous council, and something we look to continue to pursue and help along the way, and hopefully we can get a better school. Because there again, like Councillor Rosmus talked about our aging schools. And I know our school right now, the one we have here in the community, the one we have in Brandon, our high schools are in dire need of repair, upgrades, and stuff like that. So there again, these are just some of the little things we're trying to do to help our education system for our kids, a newer, better school, to offer more and stuff like that. There again, like shop classes and whatever like that. Also, I think with the home ec and stuff like that within the school and stuff like that. These are some of the basic things that need to be taught to our kids, if not at home, in our education system, which would be great. It would be great to see that in our system. I know we've, there too, when I started in council last year and stuff like that, myself and Councillor Bell were helping our education system with drivers. I know it's one thing we struggle with in our education system, and have for years, is to encourage our community members to come forth and acquire a school bus driver's license certificate and help our community in that way. And in saying that and doing that, and with Mr. Navis here now, just as Director of Education, and kind of lightens his load, gives him more time to see these things and look at these things. And that's one thing we sat down recently, is to take a look at how we pay our bus drivers now. We change the pay structures of stuff like that to better help our bus drivers, which in turn is great for the bus drivers now. This past weekend, we just had a course put on to certify potential four drivers, I think it was. Three drivers that we had recently graduated. achieved their bus driving certificate. Congratulations to those drivers. There again, I still encourage anybody and everybody to come forth and if you have the opportunity to help our community in that area, education as a driver. If not in the education system itself, TAs, teaching. And also there too, we've done some minor renovations. I know a lot of our buildings are aging over there. Our maintenance building too, we took a look at. We've done some minor renovations, some major renovations in our maintenance building across the way there. So our staff aren't freezing in there in the wintertime. Another portfolio I look over to with Councillor Bell is our public works infrastructure. Public works and fire and stuff like that, we have 13 staff employed here in our public works department, like Neil had mentioned earlier. Anywhere from laborers to equipment operators to truck drivers. And the majority there too of our staff at Public Works there and a few other members in the community also are our fire department. We look after us in that way. There again, we have about approximately 12 members listed now in our community. And recently acquired, I think before our time on council, we may have seen it, we haven't seen it yet, we have a new fire truck. And recently just we purchased a bush truck and helping our fire department in battling fires, stuff like that, from vehicle to house fires to grass fires, bush fires. What's I'm happy to say, knock on wood, hasn't been too bad in the recent years or so. We'll knock on wood on that one. I know in the past, being with myself personally, being with the fire department 25 some years, off and on, it can be quite an arduous job at times. It's very hard to do. And a lot of people don't see it from our side as volunteer fire departments. Getting up at all hours of the night to answer a call. To help our community in that way. Anything from a simple grass fire to vehicle accidents, car fires, and stuff like that. You know, in recent years too and stuff like that, and my last time here working here in the community and stuff like that, is being called on by our First Nations police officers in the community to help in many ways and stuff like that, and other ways in the community. And, you know, for myself personally, and give kudos to our crew, the things they go through and stuff like that, things they witness, the things they see, and it's a tough job. And in saying that too, there's one of the other portfolios I look after too is our justice and our First Nations safety officers, policing. There again, like I said, shared out with Councillor Tatchin, and that there again is something we have discussions about is bringing First Nations policing back. And there again, I know a lot of people don't agree, may not agree with First Nations policing, but you know, we need to do something. We need to help in making our decision in that area because our First Nations officers in our community here, we have recent graduates, level 2. We have some are level 1 and some so designated as security. To better look after our community and stuff like that, and there again, it's a tough course. It's a tough thing to do in our community. I myself personally have been there, done that in the past, and it's not an easy job. But we need to encourage, or I will encourage our community members to come out and support us in that way too, and looking after our community. That too is a tough job and the things they do all hours of the day. And we're trying to do our best ourselves in here with our council and stuff like that, is to see what it is we can do to help them in doing their job and looking after our community. And with our public works too, and if you haven't noticed and whatnot, in the recent couple of months of that, this is before my time on council, with our previous public works managers putting in submitting for new water trucks. We have recently acquired one last couple of months ago. The other one is coming. And there again, these are things that need to be done, upgrading and keeping our equipment tip-top, so to speak. You may have noticed here our grader is not in the community. It's out on repairs right now. That needs to be done in shop, so that's in Winnipeg, and hopefully we'll be back soon. Just waiting for updates on that. Another one I look after too in our portfolio I share with Councillor Tatchin too was our social development. And there again, like I said in the past year and stuff like that, and there again, it's another for myself personally, it's another tough portfolio to look over. I asked Violet here to make me a brief in-point document, but that's quite a bit to go through. But in itself, one of the ones I will touch on though, and we need to do is, for those social clients here present this evening tonight, can you please help out in the way of our hydro? That's one thing I noticed and whatnot, and I think other councils see that too, is, and you probably do, for those who do their own hydro, paying bills and stuff like that, reading meters, is, for myself personally too, is feeling that we're being picked on by hydro. We need to do our own reading our bills and stuff like that, because in the past year and whatnot, and working with Lila and her showing me and stuff like that with our hydro and stuff like that, and I feel that we are getting ripped off, so to speak. We're getting some control over it and stuff like that, but we need to start, all of us start doing our part in social, and anybody else to read your own meters. We need to get control. Because the majority of the buildings I see coming through and stuff like that through social development they're not actual readings, they're estimated. And that's where we're getting shafted pretty good on these estimates. So that, I encourage you and community members and stuff like that on social development, please help us out in that area and doing our meters. And one thing too we implemented too in social development, for those of you who are turning 65, we will be turning 65 in the upcoming year. If you're 64 now and on social client, please, I encourage you to start getting your pension papers in order, start applying now. Because this is one of the things I just encountered too this past year, recent months and stuff like that, is social clients not receiving their benefits when they turn 65. Just little tidbits out there, little things I want to put out there for our community to take note, and we need to, there again, help each other out in this area and stuff like that. If you need assistance in that area, feel free to stop by the Social Development Office. And before I close up here for the evening, there again, I'd like to thank everybody for this evening. Thank you for opening prayers, Marge. Thank you to the kitchen staff, whatnot, for the delicious meal we had this evening and stuff like that. And there again, encourage our junior chief and council. It's great to see them out here this evening. You take the time and come and sit with us this evening. And all the best in the future, and we hope to sit down with you sometime soon and have some chit chats. So with that, that's just a few things I'd like to touch on in our community and stuff like that. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. Hall.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. I'd like to call up our last council member, Councillor Whitecloud, to the podium. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Wakpa. Like to acknowledge the elder for the prayer, all the elders, our community members, and our staff. Just gonna go over briefly some of the items that have already been covered, so it's pretty simple for me now to go over stuff. Again, the water treatment plant, that's going to start up right away, so the community is only getting bigger, so we're going to need more water lines, water to go to buildings, the housing that's going up on the hill up there, so that's only expanding, and it's getting more and more difficult on our water crew, water trucks to haul water to all the houses that are on holding tanks. The ending homelessness project that's starting up just below Percy's Point. I was going to say DTS, but everybody knows that down on the bottom there. There's talks in the works about DTS getting a brand new facility, also building for our programs. The daycare, when they're talking about the daycare, I remember 50 years ago, it was the band office, so that's how long that building's been there, and lots of upgrades to the building. So I think our children that are, they need to have a good start and our children deserve a brand new facility so they can start off with the programs that that they need to get them going. So before they even reach the school age. So again, with the arbor that we lost, now we're in the works again, talks of getting that started up again. We just, John, I, and Rusty are going to oversee that and get a structure up that's going to hold and be safe for the community. Across the highway with the school, just pictures in the corner there about new elementary and a new high school. Very exciting that if we can see that. Michelle was messaging me this morning, how long ago was that you worked at the school? That was about 40 years ago. I remember I started working, that's where I was a laborer. I was hauling gyprock into the structure, and they were putting up gyprock in the school there on the classroom ceilings, on the gym ceiling. So I remember that was 40 years ago that one of my first jobs after high school was working at the elementary school here in the community. So that's getting up there in age too. Over at Health here, you see construction crew out there behind Health. That's going to be a new storage, maintenance, storage, and distribution center for Health and some of the other programs too. I know Christopher from the lodge there probably could have got us a whole bunch more of food and stuff to distribute, but we never had storage space. So we're looking at walk-in coolers in that building so we can store stuff that needs to be frozen. So that's, again, that's another exciting project. That should be up in probably 6 months. So the poles are up already, so it didn't take that crew long to get the poles in today. So again, the lodge has had a bunch of upgrades to their building, and that's getting up there in age too. So looking at new fixtures and new doors and other new fencing around the property went up. So that's all good to see for our elders and the ones that need care over there. Public Works, again, Rusty had talked a bit about it. We need to upgrade their facilities also. The Public Works building is aging now too, so it's been discussed already about getting a new building for Public Works. Our machinery need to be indoors and covered. If we want to, our machinery and that to last, it needs to be in a covered structure. So again, exciting that purchase of that property out over by Lenore, north of Verdun. All the ideas that are coming out of that with land-based training, equine therapy, the ranch there has all the buildings in that for equine therapy, indoor and outdoor, so it's very exciting for us to plan towards that and starting something there. Grand Valley Park, again, we purchase of Grand Valley Park, again, same thing, land-based. I remember a lot of the times when they have land-based programs, years ago, the Sioux Valley programs used to come to Grand Valley and hold their camps there. So now we purchased it, so we can start doing that. So that's exciting. Again, Chief Bone had mentioned getting water to Petro, something that's not on a holding tank. So we again have signed a deal with the water co-op. I guess that's the RM of Whitehead, Alexander. I call that Alexander water. So that's going to be pumped into Petro fairly soon. Again, with even the hall here, as you noticed, the floor and the heating system has all been upgraded. The paving outside that's brand new and upgrades too also. So those, I'd like to thank Neil for overseeing those programs. When we give Neil a project, we know it's going to get done. We don't have to worry about it, stalling or whatever. He gets his crew there to get on things, and he makes sure everything gets done in a timely manner. So I'd like to thank Neil for that. the work that he does. And again, all these projects, I guess, are not possible without our funding, the ones that do funding proposals and go out searching for those money out there to start these projects for the community. So I'd like to thank them, again, all our managers here, my co-workers, chief and council. I've really enjoyed my 1 year of work here. I'm glad to come home and be able to work for the community, help the community. And for myself, I'm big on recreation. So when I first came in, that was a few of the things that I pushed for was getting that outdoor rink flooded. And I'd like to thank the volunteers and the staff for doing that. And they're just starting up now. I see they had the men over there and they're cleaning it up. And even with the approval of chief and council, we purchased a used Zamboni for the outdoor rink. So I think when arenas are flooded with hot water, that's when the ice is the best, and the ice won't crack, so the kids aren't tripping over cracks in the ice, although we all grew up on a dugout or in the river skating on huge cracks in the river, but we always like to see better for our children. So we've purchased a Zamboni, so you'll see that out there pretty soon once they get it flooded and it freezes over. We've done new upgraded ball diamond fencing behind the school there. You might not have noticed that, but we had a fencing crew out there fix that up because it was kind of falling apart. Plans are in the works, and again, we're going to need volunteers to build a skating oval like in Brandon around the gazebo out here for the kids that just want to skate and not necessarily want to have a hockey stick in their hands. So that's something that I wanted to see, skating oval for families and kids so as they can have somewhere else to go, not just the outdoor rink. So that'll be in the works. You might see that coming up. And I've also, again, being big on recreation, I believe there's kids and families out there that could benefit from golfing. With the approval of Chief and Council, we're going to purchase, it's called a golf simulator. So it's going to be set up indoors. It may be set up here in the hall so kids can come and learn how to golf, practice their golf game. And I really pushed it the last little while. We had 2 young boys that made it to the national championships out in Vancouver somewhere, golfing in the Westman Junior Golf Tour. They're children of a mother from here and the father's from Burtail, I do believe. So they're young boys that have talent and they want to learn their craft. So I really pushed for getting this golf simulator where they can practice indoors through the winter time. So again, something for the kids, something for families, something for those that love to golf or want to learn how to golf. So it's similar to swinging a hockey stick. If you can swing a hockey stick, you can swing a golf club. So those are just some of the things that I've wanted to see for the community with the children, especially for the children, to get them active, get them out, keep them busy. Again, I'd like to thank the staff who served the meal. It was awesome. One last thing, I'd like to recognize the 1985 to 1990 Sioux Valley Dakota's fastball team. I was a part of that. It's kind of very dear to me. We've lost several members in the last few years who I grew up playing fastball with. And recently we were selected to be, I want to pick the right word, to be inducted into the Manitoba Softball Hall of Fame. So I'd like to, that'll happen next year in May in Winnipeg. It'll be in Winnipeg, but we'll keep you updated. There'll be tickets available if people want to go in and come to the induction. It'll be in Winnipeg. So thank you, Pidamab.
Well, that was it from all of our council members and our chief. Can we just give them one more round of applause, please? They shared lots of exciting information. Very good things happening. But right now, I want you guys to pull out your ticket. I'm going to take a quick little 1 second break. Pull out your ticket. We're going to be doing one of the first draws for the evening. Miss Trish Hayward, I believe you have the bin right beside you. Can you come over here with it? Oh, we got 2 more? 1 more. All right, hurry up. Oh, we got a couple more? Okay. So please sit tight, ladies and gents. Thank you very much. Okay, whoa, what's going on over there? We'll pull the bin with all of our tickets and we'll pull out the winner for our first draw. I believe we're drawing 8 door prizes in person and 2 will be done over SurveyMonkey for the online viewers. Here. All right, she's mixing it up, making it all look good. All right, so the winning number for our first door prize is, the door prize, yes. The door prize, you'll be winning a couple gift cards, which equals to $500, I believe. So, I believe there's Winners, Walmart, Petro, all good stuff. So the winning ticket is 709966. 709966. Oh, we got a bingo! Give them a round of applause, ladies and gents. I'll come visit you with your prizes, but at this time I'd like to invite Mr. Paul Bell from Narratives. He's going to be giving some updates on our land use plan. Keep it brief, please.
Absolutely. I promised Michael and Adam I'd keep it to less than 10, and I'm going to cut it down to even less than that as much as I possibly can. But first I'd like to start by thank you for having me out tonight. My name is Paul Bell. I work with Narratives Inc. Thank you, Chief and Council, for the invitation tonight. Thank you, Michael and Adam. It's a real privilege to be here tonight with all of you and to be part of this really exciting project happening in Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation. A little bit about Narratives Inc. We do a lot of things. We're a planning company. We do impact assessments. We do capacity building. We do environmental assessments. We do a whole bunch of things. But really what we are about is stories and storytelling. And everyone has a story to tell. Every place has a story to tell. And we believe that stories are the best way to learn, to teach, to break barriers, and to open dialogue and to heal. We make space for everyone to tell their stories and amplify those voices that may otherwise go unheard. And that's a little bit about us. In terms of who works at Narratives, we're a diverse team of professional planners, designers, researchers, strategic advisors, and our work is dedicated to supporting community-led processes, asserting Indigenous jurisdiction, and finding space for respectful dialogue that aligns with the principles, values, and ways of being of the community. So what I'm here to talk about for a few minutes tonight is what is a community development plan or a land use plan. What these are is, this is a statement about where you want to go and how you want to get there. It takes a look at who you are, what your values are, where you're at right now, and it says, this is who we are. And then it looks to the future and says, this is where we want to go, and this is how we're going to get there. It's guided by a collective vision. It's informed by what exists today and what you're looking to accomplish in the future. It includes strategies for achieving interconnected goals for housing, infrastructure, environmental goals, culture, and many other areas. So in terms of what this is going to look like over the next year, we're already started in phase 1, and that's happening over winter of 2022 and 2023. We will have a community visioning workshop, and that is being held on November 24th. We'll talk about that in a few moments. We're also going to be doing ground truthing, so we'll be going out onto the land and with guides and elders and knowledge keepers and community members and seeing what's actually out there. And then we're also going to be doing some background studies during that time. Phase 2 is when we will be coming back for a second workshop, and we'll be sitting around with all of you and working with maps of the community and figuring out what it is you want to see happen in the next, over the next 5, 10, 25 years, even further down the road. From there, we're going to take all of that information, we're going to put it together in a document, and then we're going to bring that back to you and see if we got it right. Is there anything you want to tweak? Is there anything you want to adjust, add, maybe take away? And we'll be having those conversations in the summer of 2023 as we look to finalize your plan. And then in September of 2023, which feels really far away, but it's going to come quickly, we will present the finalized plan that you have come up with and bring that to a close. A little bit about Sioux Valley's Dakota Nation's planning journey is what we've been calling it. The governance agreement that's been discussed a bit tonight, it lays out a path to implement jurisdiction over your lands. And this is a really unique opportunity to reimagine relationships to land using Dakota law and using contemporary approaches. You don't have to be held to burdens of Manitoba planning acts and municipal acts. This is your community plan. These are your laws. It's not someone else's. And that's such a unique thing to be part of. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what that's going to become over the next year and working with all of you to accomplish that goal. I mentioned on Thursday, November 24th will be the first workshop. It is a visioning and guiding principles workshop, so we'll be sitting around having discussions about what it is you want to see happen throughout this process and what your vision is for the community. We've heard a bit about that tonight. It's really exciting hearing about all the things you're doing. It's pretty incredible, and this is going to help support those goals. It's Thursday night from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The location's still to be announced, so that'll be on your various social media. There'll be posters going out, and that information is coming down the pipeline. Also, there's going to be a community coordinator position. I think it's been posted. Michael, do you know? Yes, it's been posted. So what this is a position with Sioux Valley Dakota Nation supporting the community development planning process. You'll be working with narratives as well, helping us and organizing and coordinating events and meetings, advising on ceremonial protocols, participating and supporting community events, helping getting things set up, working with the planning team. Really, this is a really great position. I love working with our community coordinators and looking forward to working with you on that. With that, I'm going to close out right away. I just want to explain we had a couple of drawings on the poster wall over there. The first is a map with a whole bunch of colors on it. What that is that's a preliminary land cover analysis. And what that is, we wanted to take a look and see what your lands were. And some of it's identifying agricultural lands and grasslands and developed areas. That's a preliminary kind of idea of what you have right now based on some aerial mapping we had access to, and that's going to get refined over the next coming months. The other is a potential concept. It's one of many, many possibilities of the commercial site you have by Highway 21. It was part of our early discussions when we were talking about this project, and one of our lead designers felt very inspired by what was happening there, and she wanted to demonstrate the kind of potential, the one of many possibilities that's available there. And there'll be discussions happening about that site over the future, and then that's going to result in a plan that's customized to what it is you want to see happen on that site, whatever that may be. And it sounds like there's a lot of really exciting potential there, so looking forward to that as well. Thank you so much. I hope I kept it brief enough, and looking forward to meeting you all more one-on-one and working with you over the coming year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul, for that. Ladies and gents, I'd like you to pull out your coupon again. We're going to be doing another door prize. Carol, would you like to help me out with this one? Alrighty. And the winning number is 710017. 71. Do we got a bingo? Hey, let's give her a round of applause. Alrighty, at this time I'd like to ask the Grant Thornton group to come and give their quick presentation, and then we'll be closing up momentarily after that. I believe we have a couple more door prizes, so stick around for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I did hear the operative word of quick. I know a lot of people aren't interested in hearing what the auditors necessarily have to say, but thank you very much for your time and your attention. My name is Marin Brown. I'm a partner with Grant Thornton. We're a national accounting firm, and I'm based out of our Winnipeg office. I'm also here with my colleague Heather Brown. We are not related. But I really just wanted to take this opportunity to give you all a little bit of an idea of what we do as engaged with Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. So if you don't know exactly what an auditor is really responsible for, I just wanted to give a quick rundown. We really are governed by a set of accounting policies. We make sure that we are preparing an audit in accordance with those policies and making sure that we identify risks in the community and in the band's financial statements, risks of material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and we design an audit in order to address those risks. So we also take a lot of time to make sure that we understand the internal controls that Sioux Valley has in place in order to safeguard the assets and the appropriateness of some of the accounting policies that are in place. We conclude on the appropriateness of those policies and the reasonableness of any estimates that are made. And overall, we evaluate on the presentation, structure, and content of the statements that are prepared by management. Currently, we were engaged to start the audit with the year end March 31st, 2021, and that year began April 1st of 2020, so we really are looking back quite a ways at this point. We're currently in progress on the March 31st, 2022 audit, with our team spending time in the community to gain that audit evidence that I spoke of, working with members of the Tammy's team, the finance department, all of the other program managers, and communicating with chief and council. The consolidated statements that we report on summarize the operations of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation as a whole, the revenue streams and expenditures, and then breaks them down into reporting segments. These segments include, but aren't limited to, housing, education, social services, health, infrastructure, and Sioux Valley Dakota Nation's economic development or for-profit enterprises. Especially in the March 31st, 2021 year, these programs all had additional expenditures related to COVID-19, as well as limitations on programs being able to operate as budgeted in a COVID environment. For the year ended March 31st, 2021, $2,950,000 was incurred for crisis response expenditures relating to the pandemic across various segments of Sioux Valley. From a capital perspective, for the same year, $6,220,000 was spent on capital asset additions. This included additions to community buildings, equipment, vehicles, roads, and infrastructure. And in addition to these capital contributions, another $2 million was spent towards repairs and maintenance of the assets of Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. As of the year ended March 31st, 21, the net book value of those tangible capital assets totaled in excess of $31 million. During the same year, $1 million of payments were made towards repaying principal amounts on outstanding long-term debt, the largest facility being a bank loan with an outstanding principal balance of $1.2 million as of March 2021. This loan matures and will be paid in full in March of 2023. So when you take all of this information into consideration, Sioux Valley Dakota Nation shows $19 million in financial assets, $17 million in financial liabilities, but that results in a net financial asset of almost $2 million. And this adds to the accumulated surplus as of that date of $33 million. This is increased from $23 million as of March 31st, 2020. And that means that as of the reporting date, Sioux Valley would be able to meet all of their obligations and all of their financial assets would exceed the liabilities at that date. This was a very quick summary. There's a lot of great things that we've identified working with the community, and we just want to thank all of the finance department, the program managers, and chief and council for your openness and opportunity for us to come and work in the community and being so welcoming of our team as we've worked through you. So we really appreciate that, and thank you very much. I will keep that as short as possible. So.
Awesome, that was great. All right, ladies and gents, it's what you've all been waiting for. We're going to be finishing up the evening with our door prizes. I'm going to give you guys some dates, so pull out your calendars for that. But without a further ado, would somebody up here like to help me pull out some of the winning prizes? Or you will? Yeah, sure, come. I remember that. Okay. So the winning number is 710036. 710036. Do we have any bingos? Just a reminder, if they've left the building, then we will be doing a redraw. Oh, we got somebody. Hey, right on. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gents. Any other directors or portfolio holders that would like to come and help me with the draw? If not, I could take it away. Now we have 5 more prizes. Oh, yeah, I know which ones, yeah. Okay, looks like my writing. We got 709979. 709979. Is that in the building? Oh, Richard, is that you? Is that you? Hey, right on. Let's give him a round of applause. Now it looks like we have 4 more prizes, 4 more left. Oh, right there, right there. Okay, we got 709983. 83. Oh, we got a bingo? Let me hear you shout bingo. Bingo? Hey, Cho, right on. All right, we got 3 more prizes, ladies and gents. Hey, that's a good idea. Would one of the junior chief and council members like to come pull out one of the winners? Right on. Let's give a round of applause, ladies and gents. That wasn't. Yeah, just pull out one. Make sure it's not yours. All right. Okay, and this one we have 710198. 710198. We got a bingo? Hey! Right on. Give her a round of applause. You want to pull out another one? Yeah, sure, yeah. No, it's awesome seeing Junior Chief and Council here. They're the leaders of our community, so let's always give them encouraging advice, welcome with open arms. All right, Chloe. Now we have 2 more door prizes left. 2 more, okay. This one is 710180. Hey! Is that the doorman? Awesome. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gents. Now it's for our final draw. Can I hear a drum roll, please? Let me hear ya. Damn, it's hot. It's hot. Okay, we got 71,000,005. We got a bingo over there? Hey, right on. Just a quick reminder before everyone leaves, I'd like to thank everyone who came out tonight. Please take some photos of the stills. And thank you all. You've been a great, wonderful audience. Thanks for being so patient. And you know, just travel safe. Make sure you download the new Sioux Valley Dakota Nation app. And if you can, please clean up the garbage around you. Maybe stack a couple chairs before you go. It helps us out a lot. Thank you very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thank you.